Hi everybody and welcome to the Mobility Unlimited Challenge webinar. Thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you all here. Just to let you know that this webinar will be recorded and uploaded to the website afterwards if you want to refer back to it. In terms of what we're going to cover over the next 45 minutes or so, we're going to run through a bit about who it is that's talking today. We're going to explain the challenge, so the Mobility Unlimited Challenge. Who and what are we looking for, why you should apply, and what's the structure of the challenge. And we're also going to talk to you a little bit about the Discovery Awards, which is a potential financial benefit to those of you that want to enter the big challenge, but maybe are having some financial constraints. Finally, we'll have a question and answers session. Just so you all know, this will be at the end, and all the attendees are muted throughout the webinar. So if you have any questions along the way, please type them into the box on your screens and we can gather all of those and address them at the end of the session. So who are we? So I'll introduce myself first as I'm speaking. So I'm Kate Adams. I'm the Director of Operations and Special Projects here at Nesta in the Challenge Prize Centre.
And my name is Julianne Brandt, and I'm the Global Communications Manager for the Toyota Mobility Foundation. And really quickly about the Toyota Mobility Foundation before I pass it back over to Kate, who will be leading the vast majority of this webinar, is that we are a global foundation, the only global foundation that Toyota has, and we clearly focus on mobility. We are fairly young still. We were created in 2014, and we generally focus on two different types of projects within the Mobility Foundation. One side of that is what we call harmony in mobility, which looks more like urban transportation, solving a lot of congestion issues, supply, demand of transportation, how it's managed, vision for it, etc. And then the other half of what we do is what we call personal mobility. And this particular project that we'll be telling you more about throughout the webinar is focusing on personal mobility. And so this is looking at individuals, groups of people who are more vulnerable or more underserved, and helping them in specific ways. But I'll pass it back to Kate to tell you more about Mobility Unlimited Challenge.
Thanks, Julianne. And just to give people a little bit of context about Nesta and the Challenge Prize Centre, we're also fairly young. We've been going since 2012. We've run over 30 different challenge prizes since that time, some here in the UK where we're based, but many international and global challenges such as this one. I think we've currently got 13 challenge prizes live at the moment, of which the Mobility Unlimited Challenge is one of the largest.
Our world needs a redesign. We don't need spectators. We need creators, innovators, collaborators. Surprise us with something new. Faster, stronger, smarter. Freedom, mobility, unlimited. The Toyota Mobility Foundation is challenging innovators from around the world to find answers that improve the mobility of paralyzed people everywhere. The Mobility Unlimited Challenge is offering $4 million to make that idea a reality. Together, we have the power to change lives. Because every challenge is an opportunity. Here's yours, the Mobility Unlimited Challenge.
So that's just a little high-level view of what the challenge is about, and we'll start to go into more detail in that now. I think it's worth starting with why the Mobility Unlimited Challenge is so important. We spent a good part of a year talking to key stakeholders that work in this space or live in this space, and we came to the conclusion that devices, as you all know, devices are key to the mobility and independence of paralysed people around the world. And that new technology such as AI could revolutionise mobility. But at the moment, the market isn't incentivising that innovation, so we are. Julianne, do you want to say a couple of words from the Toyota Mobility Foundation side on why you find this challenge so important?
Absolutely. One of the additional aspects that we're excited to kind of make a connection with between the Toyota Mobility Foundation and Toyota as a company is that just this past year, Toyota announced their partnership with the Paralympics as well as the Olympics. And so while the company is sponsoring lots of elite athletes and sponsoring the games themselves that really encourage pushing yourselves in the spirit of competition and equality, by partnering with the Paralympics, what we are looking to do as the Toyota Mobility Foundation is help create these assistive devices that will really revolutionize life for people with lower limb paralysis. And I think it's important to make the distinction that we in this challenge are not looking at creating devices that will help people become elite athletes or help people become even athletes at all. We're making devices that will help in everyday life, but that these are the types of devices that could also help some of those Paralympians that have the same kind of challenges, that face the same kind of challenges as people with lower limb paralysis. It's a subsector of some of the athletes that work and attend and participate in the Paralympics. That's that connection that we are wanting to make. And the exciting thing too that we can also say is that we will be announcing the winner at the very end of the challenge in Tokyo in 2020, which is when the Paralympics themselves will be in Tokyo as well.
Thank you. So what is this challenge prize? So it's a $4 million challenge prize. It supports radical improvements in the mobility and independence of people with lower limb paralysis through smarter assistive technology. So in terms of, that's what this prize is about. In terms of what a challenge prize is about in general, challenge prizes offer a reward to whoever can first or most effectively meet a defined challenge, and they act as an incentive for meeting a specific challenge. And I'm going to talk you through in just a minute what it is that we're specifically looking for in this instance. It's worth just saying that in this challenge prize has been set up so that whilst we're driving towards a solution, which is this device to help people with lower limb paralysis, we're also looking to just drive more innovation in this area in general, and hopefully start to shift this landscape. So what are we looking for? What are our judging criteria? So again, we'll say again, what we're looking for is a device that will enhance the mobility and independence of people with lower limb paralysis. We want to incentivize the innovation and also the creation of smart assistive mobility devices that incorporate smart intelligent systems to deliver new and improved functionality and usability. And we have 5 judging criteria that we'll be looking for. So those 5, I'll start with number 1, innovation. So the prototype, so when people submit their as entrants in August, we'll be looking for them to submit with a prototype, and that prototype should support and deliver improved personal mobility and independence to the user, incorporating smart or intelligent systems in a new or innovative way. Secondly, we're looking at insight and impact. So the entrant should be able to demonstrate a real understanding of paralysed people's wants and needs in relation to their mobility and independence that they face in everyday life. They should be able to demonstrate how the prototype was developed in response to user feedback and how it delivers improvements in the user's mobility and independence in comparison to products that are currently available on the market. The devices should also ideally be attractive and also enjoyable to use. The third of the criteria is functionality and usability. The prototype should be able to demonstrate how it delivers measurable improvement in the functionality required by the users, whilst also being comfortable and easy to use. Fourthly, we're looking for something that's of high quality and of course safe. So entrants will need to demonstrate that the prototype is reliable, that it's of high quality, as well as how it will meet the necessary safety measures. So we need to demonstrate the smart or intelligent systems incorporated into the device, that it's secure and resistant to malfunction. And then the 5th of these judging criteria is around market potential and affordability. So we require the entrants to demonstrate a route to market with consideration given to how the product will be manufactured and eventually scaled. And consideration should be given to the cost of the device for the consumer and how the device can be made financially accessible to a wider user group. So if that's what we're looking for, then who are we looking for? So the challenge is open to all, for designers, engineers, technologists, and people we haven't even dreamt about yet. It's just all across the spectrum. We're not being prescriptive. We want to be very inclusive, and we want to be really innovative. We want to break down barriers to entry for teams with great ideas. We want to hear from innovators around the world. So we're really looking for, in terms of the who, it's people that are really working to co-create a solution. So the device must be developed, tested, and refined through meaningful engagement with and the involvement of people with paralysis, so people that are representative of the device's eventual users. This is to make sure that the prototype will support meaningful environments in the use of mobility and independence. And we will expect entrants to demonstrate how that co-creation has happened. In terms of skills, so who are we looking for? We're looking for people with skills that they have the capacity to develop the entry point to the prototype device so that it can actually, it's capable of user demonstration, and it can have a route to market, so it can actually be commercialized by the final judging stage, which is currently scheduled for the September of 2020. So people that have the skill set to be able to take something to market. It's worth saying that English is the official language of the challenge, and that all communications and entries will need to be in English, please. In terms of global entries, so we are looking for people, as I said, across the globe. The only exception we have is that we can't accept entrants based in a country that is subject to the UN arms embargo. And entrants must have an understanding of their device's intended market and be able to demonstrate how the device is suitable for that market. The fourth point here is around intellectual property. The entrants must own or have written permission to use the intellectual property relevant to their entry. All entrants need to demonstrate a willingness to share information about their device, the purposes of the challenge. As part of the challenge, we at Nesta and the Toyota Mobility Foundation intend to carry out publicity activity as well as publish research about the insights gained through the challenge. And these activities, they won't divulge information relating to intellectual property in the public domain. And then the final point here around politics. So we cannot fund activity which is party political in intention, use or presentation, nor to support or promote religious activity. So we can't fund activity that supports or contributes to any criminal enterprise or social forces. We're just going to hear briefly now from two of our ambassadors, Sophie Morgan, who is a UK TV presenter, and August de los Reyes, who's the head of design at Pinterest, on why you should apply.
Up until now, we've been thinking about solutions for people with lower limb paralysis in terms of accessibility. And the critique of that is that there's a kind of ideal solution, and accessible solutions are a workaround. So people with ability differences kind of get a second class or a derivative solution. But if we harness creativity about thinking of a solution for people with ability differences from the beginning, then not only will we create an accessible solution, but it'll be a solution that's good for everyone.
This is a call for all designers, startups, businesses, engineers, creatives, people who think outside of the box, to please get involved in this challenge. Enter at mobilityunlimited.org.
Great. So a little bit about the numbers. So I'll start on the far right of the screen for those of you looking at it. So the one winning team will be awarded $1 million in September 2020 to bring their innovation to market. So that's the big end goal. But there is funding along the way to support you to get there. The first of which is the Discovery Awards on the far left of the screen. So 10 Discovery Awards of $50,000 each to support early stage innovators. And that's what we're looking at, and we'll talk about a little bit more in a minute. And that's to help fund your application. So in the middle there, we talk about 5 finalists being awarded $500,000 each to work with Toyota and develop their prototypes in November. So the main entry deadline for this challenge is the 15th of August, 2018. What we're saying is that there is an opportunity if you think you don't have the financial means to be able to apply for that, and that would preclude your entry, then we do have these discovery awards. And the deadline for those is the 7th of February, 2018, so just in a few weeks' time. So I'll talk about them in a little bit more detail in a minute, but just to run through the challenge timeline overall. We launched this challenge in Los Angeles on the 16th of November last year. As I just mentioned, the 7th of February, so the next few weeks, is the deadline to apply for a Discovery Award. In April, 10 winners will receive $50,000 each to help them to develop their application ahead of the 15th of August deadline. You do not need to be a Discovery Award winner to enter the 15th of August. It's purely some finance available to those that would be precluded from entering otherwise. So for most people, this deadline of the 15th of August is the deadline for the challenge. It's just if you need some financial assistance and can prove you need financial assistance along the way, then you're eligible to enter the Discovery Awards. Then on the 14th of January, so in a year's time, the 5 finalist teams will be announced. Each of those teams will receive $500,000, and then we'll spend the next 18 months working on their prototype before we take the final winner to announce in September 2020, and they'll receive that $1 million prize. Should also just say that there are benefits to being involved in the challenge beyond financial ones. So we know people are really interested in the money, but equally, having run lots of challenges, there's an awful lot of benefits that are non-financial. So we just wanted to mention that the access to a network of innovators all working towards the same goal is a benefit. And for those of you that have been on the website, you'll have seen the community site where people can get in touch. So people that share the same vision as ours can just start to connect and work together. There's also increased profile and recognition by going through this journey. We ourselves will want to be publicising those people that are working towards the solution, and you also have an opportunity to do the same. It's an opportunity for enhanced professional credibility, and also the non-financial support that we'll mention a little bit down the line, but there's non-financial support around maybe some mentoring and coaching along the way.
The Mobility Unlimited Challenge is a $4 million global initiative that seeks teams of innovators to create assistive technology devices for people with lower limb paralysis. Do you have a big idea but lack the funds or means to enter? Check out the Discovery Awards. We're offering 10 teams $50,000 in needs-based seed grants to support their finalist entry to the challenge. The deadline to apply for the $50,000 Discovery Awards is February the 7th, 2018. Finalist entries to the main challenge close on August the 15th. The challenge will run for 3 years, and the winner will be announced in Tokyo in 2020. The challenge is open to innovators all over the world. We're looking for devices that incorporate smart or intelligent systems that will improve users' mobility and independence. Submissions could include anything from an autonomous powered wheelchair to a robotic exoskeleton or something not yet created. Enter the Mobility Unlimited Challenge today.
So that's just a short film to explain what the Discovery Awards is about, and we'll go into a little bit more detail now. So who is eligible for these Discovery Awards? And as I said, these are essentially based on financial need for those people that would otherwise not be able to enter the big challenge for the August deadline. So we really want to attract and support small innovators. We want to make this as inclusive as possible because we believe that anyone could have a great solution, and we don't want there to be barriers to you actually coming forward and being able to share that. So people that might otherwise struggle to break into the assistive technology market or who aren't working in the assistive technology field. Innovation is a key criteria of this challenge, and these Discovery Awards are intended to support people to do something new that couldn't otherwise be possible. And so we will need you to tell us why you need the funding and how you plan to use it in your application. So what else are we looking for in applicants? So you have until August to develop a working model, as we mentioned, to enter into the main challenge. So we don't need you to have all of that ready by February the 7th. For February the 7th, you'll need a great idea that meets our judging criteria that we just went through. You'll need evidence of co-creation with people with paralysis. You need a clear explanation of why you need financial support to enter the challenge. And you'll also need a solid plan for how you'll spend the grant to develop your device before the main challenge entry deadline in August. So it's not the same level of detail at all that you would need for August, but you do need to be able to prove that need for financial support ahead of time. And please just do remember that you don't need to be involved in the Discovery Awards in order to be a finalist stage applicant in August. The two aren't linked. This is purely just a step along the way to help people enter who otherwise couldn't. So the most important bit is, how do you enter? So first of all, please do review our website. Most of you have probably been on it already, and if not, please do go on it. So that's at www.mobilityunlimited.org. On there, you'll find some information like the Innovators Handbook, some frequently asked questions, and the terms and conditions. So please do read those before you submit. Equally, should you have any questions at all, we're really happy to help, and we want to help. So you can contact us at mobilityunlimited@challenges.org, and the address is on the screen for you at the moment. And again, that's also on the website. In terms of the actual process, once you're on the website, you can click through. You'll be taken through to the submission platform, and then you can fill out some paperwork. And examples of that paperwork is also available on the website. So please do get in touch, and we'd love to hear from you and how we can help. So whilst I've been talking, we've had various questions. So what I'll do is, and thank you for those questions and getting engaged and involved. So I'm just going to talk through some of the main common questions that we've got, and we'll address as many as we possibly can now. If we don't address your question now, we will follow up with you via email so we can answer everything. But to start with, I just wanted to say the top 3 questions that we receive are: how do I apply? Am I eligible? And is my device eligible? And as we've mentioned, applications are made online using the links on the website. In terms of the eligibility, please do check the criteria to see if you're eligible to enter. So I talked through that, and is available again on the website. And your device will need to meet our judging criteria in order to be eligible. So again, have a look at those. And we always recommend that you read the Innovator Handbook, because it covers all of these elements as well. And of course, if after all of that you still have questions, do email us or get in touch. A few of the common questions that we've been receiving, so thanks for those. We've got: is the challenge only targeted at concepts or ideas rather than technology that's already available on the market? So the answer to that is that if your device is already on the market, it wouldn't be eligible for the challenge. So we're looking for new and innovative ideas for mobility devices that incorporate smart intelligent systems to deliver new and improved functionality and usability, so not existing on the market devices. Other common questions that we're getting is around what are the requirements to qualify for the Discovery Awards? And is the expectation to receive a full concept as expected by the August deadline? And so no, it was saying you don't need to have a prototype to apply for the Discovery Awards. However, you should have a great idea, and you should have a clear plan for developing your device. So we want to attract and support smaller innovators who might otherwise struggle to break into the assistive technology market, or who aren't working in the assistive technology fields. So you will need to tell us why you need a Discovery Award, and you'll need to demonstrate that without that award, you might struggle to develop the device. So the third question is, I want to know more about what kind of device you're looking for. The challenge will seek to enhance the mobility and independence of people with lower limb paralysis. So we expect that devices can help enhance users' mobility and independence through sensing and dynamically responding to one or more of the following. It could be the user's desired intentions, it could be the user's environment, proactively navigating space and managing risks, be the user's body and residual body function, supporting neurorehabilitation and the management of the user's health and well-being. It could be the usage of the device to improve its functional parameters. So just to try and help you, examples of devices like this, and you can also find these in the Innovators Handbook online, but they could be around an autonomous powered wheelchair that can detect holes, curbs and obstacles in the environment and respond automatically to avoid crashes or falls. It could be, for instance, a powered lower limb orthotic brace that monitors the user's power input and varies the power assistance it provides in line with the user's need, maximising the use of the user's body and also their residual body function. It could be a robotic exoskeleton device that contains an inbuilt fall detection and prevention mechanism. It could be a wheelchair that reads and responds to the user's intention. So for instance, any of those types of examples hopefully bring it to life for you a little bit. The fourth question, what is required for the submission? So just to say that all the information you need is on the website. So please see a PDF version of the application form on the website if helpful. So you can actually see, rather than clicking through and wondering how many pages you have to click through to submit, if you can actually see all of the paperwork in a PDF on the website in advance, so you know exactly what it is that you'll need to click through when you're online in order to enter. So you can see ahead of time what it is you need to do. You can work out how much time you think that's going to take and who you need to involve for that. So to enter the main challenge or apply for a Discovery Award, it's going to the same place. You need to complete an online form, and that can be accessed via our submission platform through the website. We only accept entries that are submitted electronically. And before submitting, again, we'd suggest that you read the Innovator Handbook, the frequently asked questions, and the terms and conditions.
Hello, this is Charlotte Macken. I'm a Programme Manager here at Nesta's Challenge Prize Centre, and I've worked on the development of this challenge and its launch and delivery. So Kate has handed over to me to answer some more of your questions. As we said, we're not probably going to be able to answer all of the questions. Anything we don't manage to get to, we will try and respond to in writing after this webinar has finished. So a few questions I can see right here is, one is about how we define SMART in the context of this challenge prize. And this is a really good example of, happy to answer it here, but really encouraging people to go look at the information on our website. In the frequently asked questions, we do have a response that is about what do we mean by smart personal assistive mobility devices that incorporate intelligent systems. So for this, it's really about kind of the incorporation of different types of technologies. So it may be artificial intelligence, machine learning, other technologies. We're being quite open in this. What we're looking for are systems that comprise of sensors, processors that take a sense input and automatically transform it into an output. So incorporating these into your device could accomplish various things through dynamic response to one or more of the following. And we've given the examples of user intention, surrounding environment, user's body, or improving the functional perimeters of the device. So there's another question here about wanting to know a little more about expectations around the public disclosure of IP during the application process. If you go to the website, as Kate said, you can see the PDF versions of the entry forms. There are a couple of questions which are clearly marked, which is just information that we would perhaps use in a press release. So it's sort of broad summaries of the idea. So we're very clear on if anything would in that form would be released. And so you can make a decision about what information you put in there. If we were going to mention someone in any press release or other communications, we would of course get in touch with your team and make sure that you're comfortable. Really what we're looking for is at no point endangering your IP, but actually this is about promoting the aims of the prize, the aims of the challenge itself, and also your team and your great idea. So that's what we're really trying to look for, but it would very much be a dialogue between our team, our partners, and the relevant awardees. We've got another question, which is around wondering how narrow the scope of innovation we are looking for. Should we specifically focus on ideas for wheelchairs, or can we expand it to other types of mobility devices? Also, is the scope limited to devices, or can it be websites, apps, social networks, etc.? This was very much a point which we went into in our research project, and it was agreed that we are looking for mobility devices. So that could be wheelchairs, but is by no means limited to wheelchairs. It could also be technology patches that can be incorporated into an existing device, but we are looking for mobility devices that an individual uses rather than something like apps and websites. Okay, we've got a question here about what happens between August 2018, the deadline for submitting your application to become finalist, and January 2019. As I'm sure you will appreciate, we're really committed to achieving the aims of this challenge and making sure that the $500,000 grants are given out to the 5 strongest teams. Therefore, that's not a quick process. So we have an assessment partner who will be doing the assessments, reviewing each application, and it's not just we receive the application and that's it. There will be some perhaps back and forth, asking additional questions, virtual interviews. We'll then create a shortlist, and that will be given to our judges. Now, the finalists will be selected by an independent judging panel who will be announced. We anticipate the announcement of that judging panel in February. What's really important to note is that our judges will have a range of expertise, both professional and personal, and what we really want to emphasize there is that we do not select the winners and the finalists. That is selected by our judges. But between that August and January period is us doing the assessment, having the judging panel, and actually making sure that we're all set up so that in January, finalists can get on and develop their great ideas. So there's a question here about the level of business plan and market analysis needed during the discovery grant phase of the challenge, which is a great question. So really here is worth going back and emphasizing the fact that the discovery awards are about enabling people to enter the challenge. So we know that actually when we're asking people to apply to become a finalist and to kind of get that $500,000 grant, we're going to be asking them for a lot more detailed information. So the Discovery Award entry form, which you can find on the website, mobilityunlimited.org, is a lighter touch in terms of the level of detail we'll go into. I would really recommend that anyone who's not sure about what we're looking for there goes to the website, looks at the PDF, and if anything's unclear after you've looked at that, looked at the FAQs, please do get in touch. We do need to know that you, at that point, that you have a good idea of, how your idea might work, but we are looking for kind of concepts that still need to be developed to get to that point where they can apply to become a finalist. So we're not looking for the same level, but we do need to know that you have some kind of credibility and a good idea and a good sense of where you'll need to go to apply to become a finalist. So there's questions around how developed the technology needs to be for the August deadline, and there are a couple of different questions around that, so I'm just going to answer them. I'm going to group them together and answer them in a general way. So when we select the winner in 2020, we're not selecting a product that will immediately go to market. We know that that's unrealistic and not going to be the case. What we're going to be looking for when we select that winner in 2020 is a prototype that is capable of user demonstration and has that viable route to market. So when we're looking in August, what we're looking for is an idea of device, a product that is developed, that has some development behind it, and that is in a place where it will be able to get that prototype capable of user demonstration by 2020. And that's part of what we're going to be looking for in people's finalist application. So there's not one level of expected technology readiness, but in your application, you have to be able to demonstrate to us that you will be credibly able to get to that minimum level by 2020 of a prototype capable of user demonstration. Again, if there's any nuance that you want to tease out, please do get in touch with us via our email is on the website. We're always happy to speak to people and answer further questions, because we appreciate that what we're looking for here, and really what we're hoping for, is that we will have a range of technologies and a range of types of solutions. So we're very aware that there's not necessarily one answer to those kind of questions. Okay, and I'm just going down, I'm looking at a few more. Unfortunately, we do have quite a lot of questions now, so we're not going to be able to get to all of them, but as we said, we will follow up in writing if needs be. There's a question about the application and what kind of evidence we need to see to meet the criteria for working with users to design the device? Do we need videos, documents, or images? It's not a question of one type of evidence. What we need to see is, kind of a credible presentation of how you've engaged with potential users. Again, we're very conscious that there's not one type of solution we're looking for here, so we're not saying there's one type of evidence, but please do have a look at the PDF of the entry form, and we will get back to you. There's a question here about is there a limit on the number of team members? No, that's not the case. What you'll need to tell us a bit about your team. So that's one of the things. So when we're providing these funds to the different teams, yes, we're essentially investing in their idea, but we're also, of course, as you all know, investing in the team. So we need to be confident that that team is capable and realistic, and if there are any gaps, they have an idea of how they're going to fill them. So there's definitely not a limit, but we will be looking at how realistic the proposed teams and the plans for using the funding is. Okay, I'm just looking, we have got some repetition of questions here, so I'm just having a look through. And there's a question here about being able to utilize video clips or other types of media to demonstrate the prototype is viable in the Orca submission. Yes, that is possible. And there is actually a requirement to produce videos. They don't need to be fancy, they just need to be something that we are able to see what is happening and hear what is happening. But if you have any questions around kind of what formats things need to be in, just please do get in touch. So there's a question around technology readiness. Is there an upper limit? Can we be too far along and penalised because the expectations is that we are already on our way? This is a really great question, and what we said is that the product can't already be at market, but we are also conscious that these are, what we're hoping is that the devices, the ideas that are developed through this challenge will go on and help people in their day-to-day lives. So I don't think that there is a point where, you are too developed. What we'll be looking for is wherever the idea, the concept is, what we're going to be looking at is how innovative is it? How much is this going to help improve people's mobility? How realistic and credible do we think it is? And then ultimately, how are they going to use this money at either the discovery award stage or at the finalist stage? How are they going to use this grant money to really drive forward progress? So what we'd be looking for, if at any application, is just seeing that kind of where are they and how will this money drive forward progress. There's a couple of questions around the size of the Discovery Award grants, which is $50,000. And those questions, some of them are saying, can we apply for part? Unfortunately, we are looking for applications for the entire amount. And then there are other questions around what if that $50,000 isn't actually enough? Now, it's perfectly fine. We realize that for some people, $50,000 won't cover all their expense. And likewise, at the finalist stage, it's entirely possible that we might have a finalist where $500,000 isn't going to cover all of their expenses during the finalist stage. That's fine. We are very happy for you to have other sources of funding and income. We would just want you to, as part of your application, explain to us how you're going to deliver and how that money will be used. And we would be interested in the wider context of your funding. There's a question around, a couple of questions, and I will be wrapping up. So just this last one is around the Discovery Awards, the form, and actually this is the case for both the form, that there are some limitations in terms of the length of answers that can be given to questions. And someone is asking whether it would be possible to extend them. Now, unfortunately, this is not the case. This is just to try and make everything fair, to give a equal playing field to people, and also just to be realistic about being able to assess effectively the different applications and the time that that's going to take. So if you have any queries about the entry form, as I said, please do get in touch with us. There's PDF versions on the website, and we're happy to talk through things. What is always really important to us is to be as transparent as possible and to give everyone the same information. So please do get in touch, and I'm sure, and in terms of the information on the website, The FAQs, we do expand those as we get questions in, so please do get in touch if you have anything else. The final thing to note is that we will be posting this webinar on the site for you, so please do get in touch and you can always review it. And finally, just thank you very much for your interest in the project and for your time. We hope that you found this webinar helpful, and we will obviously be happy to answer any questions via email.
Great, thank you, Charlotte. Thank you all for being on the phone, the webinar today online. Again, thank you so much for your interest in the Mobility Unlimited Challenge. And just a reminder that if you are interested in the Discovery Awards, the deadline is the 7th of February, so that's coming up really soon. And if not, the main deadline for the challenge is the 15th of August. So we look forward to hearing from you. Thanks, everybody.